So this is a quick example of how to transfer your black and white copy of your Analogous Zoom onto illustration board. So you're going to want to print out your black and white image. You're going to get an ebony pencil, like I have here, and you're going to take your cheap printout and flip it upside down. You're going to take your ebony pencil and cover the entirety of the back of your copy. Okay? I'm using the side of the lead and I'm kind of twisting my pencil at the same time as well in order to keep my pencil sharp. And you want to cover this entire piece of paper. The better coverage you create, the less reworking you're going to have to do on your transfer. So I'm just doing a very quick and light application of the graphite on the back of my copy, just so I can quickly show you how this works. But if you do take a little bit more time at this stage, I think you'll get a better transfer and you won't have to retrace anything, okay? So I've covered most of the back. You're going to flip it and place it on your illustration board exactly where you want it. And what you're going to do is create registration marks on all sides that move from the paper to the illustration board. That way you have 4 marks to align your paper with if it gets out of place or you have to retrace, which you probably are going to have to retrace these shapes a couple times. I also mark my corners. Then you're going to start retracing the major shapes in your image. I advise even filtering your image to the simplest form in photo filter cutout. That way you're not even bothered by the detail of the final image, because your first layers are just flat basic shapes. So don't worry about tracing textures within shapes or patterns within shapes. For now, just copy major outside shapes. So just outlines. So it should feel a bit like a puzzle with very little information within each shape. So outlines are important here, but not inside. Press fairly hard through your paper so that you don't have to retrace this. Like I said, I have a light application on the back, which is nice. I'm only getting a light graphite transfer, but I'm going to have to retrace it a little so that I can see those lines a little bit better. There's 2 ways you can start with this too, in terms of the board itself. You could pre-prime your board with white paint. So you could find your size of your image and paint the entire image space with a white acrylic and then let that dry and transfer on top of it. I like to transfer kind of heavy with a heavy mark and then take the white acrylic over that strong, heavy graphite application. That way I still see the graphite through the white, but it's not really dark. So those are 2 ways that you can start with priming the ground. So I'm just going through and identifying basic shapes. Right in here, I'm actually not even bothering with these low contrast differences yet. I'm going to transfer those later. Okay, I'm just getting the basic shapes down first. I also think it's really helpful to do this in like a red pen or a colored pencil so that you can see where you've traced and where you haven't, because sometimes a black and white image is difficult to gauge where you've placed your graphite. So that could also help you see exactly where you've traced. And you guys should tape this down. I didn't tape it down. I've done it enough. I'm keeping it in place. And I always have my registration marks to put it back in place. But it's going to be easier on you if you at least tape it down first. So I'm just finishing up a basic transfer. You're not transferring the whole image. This is going to have to happen in layers. So you're just transferring your base layers, basically. Okay. So there's a pretty good example of a transfer. And then the next video I'll show you guys how to lay your first layers of color down and then do the next layer of transfer of detail, your mid layer, and then paint And then you're going to do your third layer of transfer, which is your high detail and your small shapes that you'll paint. So you should probably do this, you should construct this painting in 3 to 4 layers, moving from the general to the specific. Okay?